Ever split a pizza, measured half a cup of flour, or seen a half-off sale? You've already used fractions. Fractions aren't just for math class, they're everywhere in daily life. They help us measure, share, and make decisions, from reading a fuel gauge to splitting a bill. Imagine a chocolate bar. Break it into 4 pieces, take one, and you have 1/4. That's a fraction, parts of a whole. We use this idea constantly, often without thinking about the math. So let's demystify fractions and see how they make life easier. By the end, you'll see fractions as a practical tool for cooking, shopping, and understanding the world. Let's get started. What exactly a fraction anyway? It might sound intimidating, but the concept is actually quite simple and something we use every day, often without even realizing it. At its core, a fraction is a way to represent a part of a whole. Think of it as a piece of something larger. It's like taking one slice out of 8 from a delicious pizza. That single slice represents a fraction of the entire pie. We encounter fractions all the time, from sharing a cake with friends to measuring ingredients for a recipe. Fractions are written using 2 numbers, separated by a line. The top number is called the numerator, and it tells you how many parts you have. It's the number of slices you've taken, the amount of ingredient you're using, or the number of team members present. The bottom number is the denominator, and it indicates how many equal parts the whole is divided into. This is crucial. The parts must be equal for it to be a true fraction. Think of it as the total number of slices the pizza was originally cut into. For example, let's say we have a pizza cut into 8 equal slices. If we're talking about 3/8, that means we're referring to 3 out of those 8 equal parts. It's a way of quantifying a portion of the whole. The denominator gives the part its name. It tells you what kind of piece you're dealing with: eighths, thirds, quarters, etc. The numerator then counts how many of those pieces you actually have. So, if you have 2/3 of a delicious cake, that means the cake was originally cut into 3 equal pieces, and you're lucky enough to have 2 of them. Consider a sports team. If 5/6 of a team are present at practice, that means 5 out of the team's 6 players are there, ready to play. Fractions are truly a universal language, providing a way to describe parts of almost anything we can imagine. From food portions, to segments of time, to the composition of teams, and so much more. Once you understand how to read and interpret them, you'll find that you can use fractions to describe and quantify almost anything you encounter in the world around you. It's really that simple. Numerator over denominator, representing parts of a whole. It's a fundamental concept that unlocks a deeper understanding of mathematics. Fractions make the world measurable, shareable, and understandable. They allow us to divide resources fairly, measure ingredients accurately, and describe proportions precisely. Now that we've grasped the basics, let's delve deeper and see how to compare different fractions. This will open up a whole new world of mathematical possibilities. Have you ever wondered how to definitively say one fraction is bigger than another? It might seem tricky at first, but with a few simple techniques, you can easily compare fractions and understand their true values. It's a fundamental skill that unlocks a deeper understanding of numbers and proportions. The first step in comparing fractions involves looking at the denominators. The denominator, the bottom number in a fraction, tells you how many equal parts the whole is divided into. If the denominators are the same, comparing fractions becomes incredibly straightforward. When they're the same, just compare the numerators. For example, if you're comparing 5/8 and 3/8, since both have the same denominator, eighths, you simply compare the numerators. 5 is bigger than 3, so 5/8 is bigger than 3/8. But what happens when the denominators are different? This is where things get a little more interesting. If denominators differ, like 1/2 versus 3/8, one way to visualize it is to picture the pieces. 1/2 is clearly bigger than 3/8. Imagine cutting a cake in half versus cutting the same cake into 8 slices and taking 3. Another helpful rule to remember is that when numerators are the same, the smaller denominator means a bigger piece, because you're dividing the whole into fewer parts. Think about it. 1/3 of a pizza is a larger slice than 1/4 of the same pizza. So 1/3 is bigger than 1/4. Now, for the trickiest scenario, different numerators and denominators. In these cases, the most reliable method is to find a common denominator. Let's take an example. 2/3 versus 3/4. Which one represents a larger portion? To compare them accurately, convert both to twelfths. Since 12 is a common multiple of 3 and 4, 2/3 becomes 8/12, and 3/4 becomes 9/12. Now that they have the same denominator, we can easily compare. 9 is bigger than 8, so 3/4 wins. comparing fractions isn't just an abstract math skill. It helps you make smarter choices in your daily life. It can help you determine which sale offers the best discount, or which recipe uses more sugar relative to other ingredients. Ultimately, it's all about understanding which part of the whole is truly larger, giving you a clearer perspective on proportions and quantities. Mastering this skill means you can quickly judge value, make informed decisions, and navigate everyday situations with greater confidence. Fractions aren't just abstract numbers confined to textbooks, they're powerful tools for comparison that you can use every day. Now that we've got a handle on comparing fractions, next, let's see how to add them up. Onward. Adding fractions is easy if the denominators match. Just add the numerators. 1/4 plus 2/4, that's 3/4. If denominators differ, find a common denominator first. For 1/2 plus 1/4, convert 1/2 to 2/4, then add 2/4 plus 1/4 equals 3/4. The denominator stays the same, only the numerators add up. The steps: check denominators, find a common one if needed, convert, then add. This method works for recipes, measurements, and more. Adding fractions lets you combine parts to see the total. It's a practical skill for cooking, building, and budgeting. Remember, same denominators add tops, different denominators make them match first. With this you can confidently sum up any parts of a whole. Next, let's subtract. Ready? Subtracting fractions is just like adding. If denominators match, subtract the numerators. 8/8 minus 3/8, that's 5/8. If denominators differ, find a common denominator first. For 3/4 minus 1/8, convert 3/4 to 6/8, then subtract 6/8 minus 1/8 equals 5/8. The denominator stays the same, only the numerators change. Subtraction helps you figure out what's left: gas in a tank, wood after a cut, or pizza after a snack. The process: match denominators, convert if needed, then subtract the tops. This skill is essential for managing resources and tracking what remains. Subtracting fractions is the science of what's left. With this, you can handle leftovers, budgets, and more. Fractions make subtraction simple and logical. Now let's multiply. Here comes the magic. Multiplying fractions is the simplest operation. No need for common denominators. Just multiply the numerators, then the denominators. 1/2 times 1/2. 1 times 1 is 1, 2 times 2 is 4, so 1/4. 2/3 times 1/4. 2 times 1 is 2, 3 times 4 is 12, so 2/12, which simplifies to 1/6. Multiplying finds a part of a part, like half a recipe or a third off a price. For example, half of 3/4 cup of flour is 3/8, or 1/3 of $90 is $30. Multiplying fractions usually gives a smaller result since you're taking a part of something. The rule: top times top, bottom times bottom. This shortcut helps you scale recipes and calculate discounts and more. Multiplying fractions is a powerful practical tool. Next, let's tackle division. Dividing fractions seems tricky, a concept that can initially appear daunting. Many students find themselves puzzled when faced with these types of problems. It's understandable to feel a bit lost, especially when you're first introduced to the idea. But don't worry, there's a simple trick, a method so straightforward it will make dividing fractions feel like a breeze. This technique is your key to unlocking the mystery behind fraction division. Keep, change, flip. This is the mantra you need to remember. It's a 3-step process that simplifies the entire operation. Keep the first fraction exactly as it is. Don't change a thing. It's the foundation upon which we'll build our solution. Next, change the division sign to multiplication. This single alteration transforms the problem into something much more manageable. And finally, flip the second fraction. This means inverting it, swapping the numerator and the denominator. Let's look at an example. 2/3 divided by 1/6. This is where the keep, change, flip method really shines. First, keep 2/3. We leave it untouched, ready for the next step. Then, change the division symbol to multiplication. We're transforming the problem. Now, flip 1/6 to 6/1. The 1 becomes the denominator and the 6 becomes the numerator. Now we multiply. 2 times 6 is 12, and 3 times 1 is 3, so we have 12/3. And 12/3 equals 4. That's our final answer. This tells you how many 1/6 pieces fit into 2/3. In this case, 4 pieces. What about whole numbers? Well, write them as fractions. It's easier than you think. For example, 6 divided by 3/4 becomes 6/1. Any whole number can be expressed as a fraction with a denominator of 1. Keep 6/1, just as we learned. It remains unchanged in this first step. Then change to multiplication, swapping the operation to its inverse. And finally, flip 3/4 to 4/3. The 3 moves to the bottom and the 4 goes to the top. Now, multiply 6 times 4 is 24 and 1 times 3 is 3, giving us 24 over 3. And 24 over 3 simplifies to 8. So, 6 divided by 3/4 equals 8. Division, especially with fractions, helps you figure out how many smaller parts fit into a larger whole. It's about understanding proportions and relationships. You can use this for cutting materials, ensuring you have the right amount for your project. It's also perfect for sharing food, making sure everyone gets a fair share. And it's incredibly useful for splitting costs, dividing expenses evenly among friends or colleagues. Remember, keep change flip makes dividing fractions easy. It's a reliable method that simplifies complex calculations. With this simple trick, you can divide anything. No sweat. Fractions will no longer be a source of stress or confusion. Now that you've mastered this technique, let's add some handy tricks to further enhance your fraction dividing skills. Get ready to take your understanding to the next level. Let's make fractions even easier with a few tricks. Always simplify your answers. Reduce 2/4 to 1/2. To simplify, divide both numerator and denominator by their greatest common factor. For mixed numbers, convert to improper fractions before multiplying or dividing. Need a common denominator fast? Multiply the denominators together. It's not always the smallest, but it works. Estimation is your friend. Guess the answer before you calculate to catch mistakes. If you're adding 1/2 and 1/3, you know the answer is less than 1. Estimation builds confidence and helps you spot errors. These tricks make fractions faster and less intimidating. With practice, you'll handle fractions like a pro. Now let's see why this matters in real life. Fractions aren't just numbers. They're a practical language for daily life. They help you cook, shop, build, and budget with confidence. Doubling a recipe, comparing discounts, or splitting a bill, all made easier with fractions. Understanding fractions means you're equipped for everyday challenges. This knowledge empowers you to make smarter decisions and solve problems logically. Fractions even help you understand statistics, probabilities, and music. Next time you see a fraction, see it as a tool, not a hurdle. You've unlocked a new way to see the world. Fractions are for everyone. Use them to navigate life with skill and confidence. Consider yourself empowered. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe for more awesome content.